Hey, I'm Chase, and this is All Things Random. Today, we're talking about possibly the best Richard Mille Homage on the market. Now, what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about this. The Feice FM602, also a Richard Mille Homage. Clearly, it looks exactly like one. Now, Feice is known for doing homage watches. I did a Feice Homage Royal Oak back in the day. I'll leave a link right up here if you guys want to watch that video. Now, Feice and Rocos are both basically the same brand, and they come in basically the same box. And that box is gonna look something like this. Now, this is just the cardboard box from the outside. I really don't wanna unbox the watch because I really don't care that much. Looks just like this, plain Jane box. Nobody really cares. What I care about is the watch itself. And I'll be honest with you, I wanted to absolutely hate this watch when I got it. When I saw it online, I wanted to be like, look, it's not worth the money. I really don't wanna get it. And if I get it, am I gonna like it? Now, I started seeing reviews on this watch. Now, when I say reviews, I don't mean video reviews. I have barely seen any video reviews. I think I came across 2 when I was researching on whether or not I should get it. Now, Feice itself, overall, is not a bad quality brand. Their quality control is not too bad. And Rocos itself, which is sort of the exact same company, also has pretty decent quality control. Now, I saw a review down the bottom that's like, hey, this is just a cheap piece of Chinese garbage, and it really did not want me to get this. Like, it really was like, hey, don't get it because you're just gonna be wasting your money. Then I decided to pull the trigger anyway, and I'll be honest with you, I was extremely happy and surprised just how good the quality control is on this watch. Now, let's talk about this watch because this thing is actually pretty amazing. Now, first, let's talk about the case material on this watch, the size and the diameters. Now, with my calipers out, we'll measure the width across. The width across is gonna be 43.34 from lug to lug, or at least where you think the lugs would go. It's about 51.5. And then the height or the thickness is where it's the most. That's 17, almost 17.5 millimeters in height. This watch is an extremely not huge watch because if you look at Invictas, some Invictas are so massively big, it literally looks like Flava Flav's necklace on your wrist. But this thing does have quite a presence. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't feel like it's got quite a presence. In fact, this thing weighs in at just under 100 grams because this has a carbon fiber case. Now, this watch is very deceptive. And I'll tell you it's very deceptive because instead of using a manual wind movement, they use an automatic movement. And they use an automatic movement in such a way that it's hidden behind a front plate and a back plate that are sort of aesthetically more pleasing than the movement itself. So if you look, you'll see there's some fake gearing, and even on the back, it's the same way. These gears in no way are functional. In fact, the movement inside is tucked away behind all of that. You can sort of see in the round silhouette when you look at the case from directly above. You can see there's sort of a round movement inside. Now, that movement is gonna be the NH05. Now, how do I know it's the NH05? Well, that's because that's what they say. However, it's really unclear if that's really the case. Now, the NH05 is a smaller movement compared to the industrial NH35, which is used in basically any micro brand. Now, the NH05, if you look here, if you look at the balance wheel is basically the same on the NH35, but you can see the overall size of the movement is extremely small. In fact, you could say that balance wheel takes up about a quarter to about a third of the overall size of the movement itself. So the pure fact that it's an automatic movement that's extremely small makes it easier to fit in this watch. Now, if you compare it to the NH35, you can see the NH35 is about twice the size, and that goes in most micro brand watches. The NH35 is a great movement. Have no idea about the NH05. However, here is where I think they're being a little bit deceptive. Who knows really what's inside? because it says that the NH05 is a 21 joule movement, but clearly on the back of the case, this says 19 joules. So with that, am I led to believe that it was a mistake on the case back that they listed 19 joules, or is it a mistake that they put it's an NH05? Well, I'm not going to be taking apart this watch, but let's just talk about the rest of the watch. Now, this thing is encased in a carbon fiber case, and it's beautifully done. In fact, I was surprised just how well done it was with the carbon fiber. No sharp edges, extremely smooth. The finish is immaculate. And it's sandwiched between, the movement and the dial itself is sandwiched between two sapphire crystals. They didn't have to use sapphire, they could have used mineral glass, but it's sandwiched between two sapphire crystals, one on the case, which is a curved on the front, and one which is a flat on the back. That, to me, is very good when you're spending, just under $600 on a watch. $600, you say, yes, just under $600 on an Homage watch. But I'll be honest with you, this thing is pretty dang good. And yes, it may be China made, and it actually says down at the 6 o'clock where it normally would say Swiss made, it says China made, which I've never really seen before. Normally people don't put China made on their watches, they just leave it blank. Or if it's made in Japan, it'll say Japan movement or whatever the case is, but normally they don't say China made. It's funny that they put it down at the 6 o'clock. Attached to the case is this silicone rubber strap, and the silicone rubber strap is actually extremely comfortable, and it's really cool how it sort of works because it's a sort of butterfly deployant clasp that opens up, but these are spring loaded. So you can see right now it's pushed outward, but if I close this up, there, it pops right in. Then here is where a little bit of the complication comes in because you have to sort of both feed it in and hold it at the same time, then it snaps right into place. In fact, I will be honest with you, I wore this every single day last week at work, and it does have quite a presence. In fact, I felt very cool wearing this watch. I was like, yeah, it's a cool statement piece. It's very well made. It's cool that it has a beautiful carbon fiber finish on the outside. It's cool that it has a sapphire crystal on the front and back. And it's cool that they sort of hid the automatic movement behind some aesthetic decoration on the front and back. Because honestly, unless it's a manual wind movement, which a lot of people don't like, they like the either a quartz movement. This has no second hand. So they could have put a quartz movement in here and nobody would even have known the difference. Instead, they put an automatic movement in, which is sort of nice. And in fact, they did it in such a way that you don't see the rotor spinning, the weight rotor spinning in the back for the automatic movement. So it's cool that they chose an automatic movement so small that the rotor is small enough to fit behind all the gearing in the back that's just aesthetic. Now overall, it's extremely easy to use because just a pop out of the crown and you can easily adjust it back and forth. Very positive on adjusting the time. This giant crown, trust me, has plenty of grip. You'll never have an issue. Push it in and that's it. Now this thing only has 50 meters of water resistance, so it's good for everyday wear, but it's not suitable for swimming clearly or diving or anything like that. But I'll be honest with you, it is very difficult to find another watch that's this good a quality at this price that's not a Richard Mille itself. Now, of course, this is a direct homage of a Richard Mille, and a lot of people can't afford to spend the $100,000 to $200,000, that's half the cost of my house that we're in, on a watch. But some people love the look of the Richard Mille, and this, I would say, is a pretty good alternative if you're looking for something that's good quality, that's a good presence on the wrist. Now this thing doesn't scream Feice at all. Now it doesn't say Feice across the side like an Invicta would. It doesn't say it almost anywhere. It has it very small on the buckle on the underside. It says Feice Original, and it is printed extremely small, just like the China made, on the front in red, Feice Original. You know what? You can't really see it. You can't really see it. So honestly, is it a replica? No, it's not, because they're not pretending to be Richard Mille. It doesn't say Richard Mille on it. They're saying, hey, we're trying to give you a watch of similar quality with cool components, cool materials, and we're gonna give it to you at a reasonable price. Now they do offer this in a black case with a black strap, a red case with a red strap, and this one, which is a black case with a red strap. Again, I was super concerned with getting this, but overall, I was extremely happy with just the quality of this watch. And you can tell while on the wrist, it does have a pretty big presence. Now my wrist is 7¼ inches, and you can see that it is pretty big, but this is a statement piece, just like a Richard Mille, just like the Aventi watch that I ordered. It's a statement piece. It's not meant to be small. It's not meant to be slipped under a cuff. It's meant to be bold out there. Hey, look at me. I'm a carbon fiber cased watch on a red strap that's just screaming in your face. And the skeletonized nature of it just makes it really cool with its three-dimensional look, and it just allows you to sort of see through the entire thing. Honestly, like I said, going into this, I really wanted to hate the watch. In fact, I was like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the watch. I'm going to do a review on it. Then I'm gonna do a second video in the future that sort of puts it alongside of another watch. And then I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna sell it. And then I got it and I started wearing it and I was like, I really like this watch. Like, I really like this watch. I don't know what it is. I'm not a big statement timepiece. In fact, this watch right here that's behind me, it was the loudest watch that I've ever owned, and that's the Rolex Hulk. Now I am gonna put a new watch here in the next video because that's gonna be something that I'm going to be reviewing in the future. This, however, is placed up there. Again, I'm putting these little Easter eggs there, but this right there, this was the loudest watch I ever had, and that was the Rolex Hulk. Green bezel, that's ceramic, so it's super shiny and super brilliant and nice with a green dial. Now I put it on a rubber strap with AK end links on it, so it sort of just flows in seamlessly with the case. Beautiful watch, absolutely beautiful. And that was the loudest watch that I ever had. I never had a giant statement piece. That was a statement piece enough. And then I was like, this, yes. I'm not saying this is better than that. What I'm saying is this is a statement piece. And I love wearing it. I don't know why. Maybe this is just getting me more excited for my Aventi that's coming, because something about the presence on the wrist that just makes me feel like $1 million. Probably because Richard Mille's normally are quite expensive. Some are $1 million. Most are a couple $100,000. Anyway, if you like videos and videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment on the content you guys would like to see on this channel. I have a lot of videos coming up in the future, a lot of watch stuff coming up in the future, a lot of build stuff coming up in the future, and a lot of dive stuff coming up as well. Wasn't able to get to the pool like I wanted to this weekend because of this thing going around. They're limiting all the access to the pools. So I show up with my 12-year-old because I'm going to do some videos and teach him how to swim with some water confidence. And they tell me, hey, we only have one spot in that deep end for you to go. Now me, I looked and I'm like, there's 2 people in that entire deep end. And they're like, yep, we can only allow 1 person in there. So I was like, well, there's 2 of us. What do you want me to let my 12-year-old drown or leave my 12-year-old here? I don't think so. So we're gonna go earlier next week. I will be doing underwater dive stuff. I wanted to do the oil-filled watch video released like tomorrow, but I wasn't able to do that because I wasn't able to get under the water. So I'll do that next week. I'm trying to release at least 2 videos a week, if not 3 videos a week. So make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell. Leave a comment down below. Do you like this watch? Do you not like this watch? It's very important. I really love the community outreach. I love going back and forth with you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.